So let's get on with TA, shall we? Right. So we're on to transactions. So I think we just started that last week. If I come in and say hello, and you say hello, we've had a transaction. If I say hello to you, what's the time? And you come back with 1 o'clock, adult to adult. But then I showed you how we can switch. Hello, what's the time? You're late. And you're then in parent, controlling parent, and your whole aim is to push that person into child. Well, it benefits you if they're in child because you can get in parent and start bossing them about and start telling them what's what. And if you've pushed them into child, and they might stay there. And yeah. And then they're always on the back foot, aren't they? And do you know what? It happens to them so much in life, especially if they're adapted child, or as we've said, oh, I'll have to get a little film of that later. Oh, there's 2 of them. Oh, chasing round the tree. Seen that one off. I'll try and get that and put it up anyway. So, yes. So we don't want to stay in child, do we? We don't want to live our lives in adapted child or even rebellious child, because rebellious child feels like they're stronger than adapted child, but actually they're not, because they're still in response to that controlling parent. The controlling parent says, time, you're late. And he says, no, I'm not that much. But he's still in reply to the parent. If you can come back from adult, how much better that would be. You might not choose to come back from adult. You might choose to come back from, adapted child or rebellious child. But if you know how to go in adult, then you've got choices, haven't you? You've got choices. You're not stuck there in child. Complementary transactions. Remember we talked about that. Parent, child, parent, child, parent, child, adult, 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 adult. We might have parent, 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 or child, 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 child. But they're called complementary transactions. Why? Because they complement each other. Yeah. But then we can have a cross transaction, which is that one where we say, what's the time? And she comes back or he comes back with, you're late again. And that's crossed. And that feels a little bit of a jolt. What did they mean by that? And that's the sort of feeling you get when you have those sorts of conversations. Oh, that's all right, love. What do you want to say?
How many fish fingers do you want?
5.
5? I'll give it 5.
I'll give it 5. 5 fish fingers. We're just going to have lunch now, yeah. So usually if somebody's invited you to go into a transaction, invited you, you're late again, you're usually going to go into it. You usually are. Yes, well, you are. That's what happens. I'll probably go into adapted child and apologise. Yeah. Or I might be in rebellious from the same ego state. We've said that. Oh, I couldn't help it. Don't know what you're making so much fuss about. And so that original adult, what's the time? It's been forgotten. Yeah. So when a transaction is crossed, a break in communication results. That's what usually happens. I call it like a little jolt. You feel it, what's gone on there, just a little mild jolt. If you notice that when you're in conversation with others now, do you feel a little bit like that? If you do, they've crossed the transaction. Now, this week, we're going to go and talk on about this. I'm just introducing it to you. We're going to go on to about ulterior transactions. 2 messages are conveyed at the same time. And do you know what? We always read the ulterior. We always do. In fact, when I first started counselling and first started making changes for myself, Pete used to always read the ulterior, and I used to have to say to him, no ulterior here. I'm asking you a genuine question, or I'm saying something genuine. Yeah, because his default system always came back with this red ulterior. So sometimes we can read ulteriors when they're not even there because we've been so used to it. It's a psychological level message. So social level, content, adult. Social level, adult. What's the time? 1 o'clock. Adult, social level. But the psychological level are usually parent-child or child-parent. You can get that, can't you? You can see that. Yeah. So we've got an illustration in the book. I'll make one up of my own in a minute. Husband, what did you do with my shirt? Notice he's coming in parent. What did you do with my shirt? Wife, I put it in your drawer. Adapted child. Now, if we just looked at that written words, we'd say adult to adult. What did you do with my shirt? I put it in your drawer. So with TA, we have to hear what's going on. We have to visualize what's going on. And that's why so many people get in trouble with texting now. Because I might text to you, oh, what did you do with my shirt? I'm reading it adult, but actually what behind it is, what did you do with my shirt? So that's why when we text, all these emojis have come about, because we might have to put a smiley face on or a laughing face, because otherwise it doesn't sound like we're laughing. So we're putting the sound and visuals on, aren't we, with the emojis? Can you see that? What did you do with my shirt? I put it in your drawer. But the psychological level is, you're always messing with my things. Why don't you just leave them on the bed? Why didn't you just leave it where I know where it is? Oh, says the wife. I'm being criticised again. Yeah, that's the psychological message. So we need to be able to hear, we need to be able to see, to really get the true meaning of that message. Because with just words, we can't do it. So, no one transaction is good or bad in itself. If you want to maintain that smooth flow, then keep your transactions parallel. But if you find it's often jerky or you don't quite know what's going on, think about it. They're coming from a different angle from where you know, so you can decide. Oh, we've got flicking light now. You can decide where to smooth it out. So a salesperson might say, oh, sir, that camera is top of the range. It's a bit beyond your budget. Controlling parent. And what he's trying to do is put you in child. Say that to Pete. Oh, I'll take it. Yeah, you know? So, parent, child, he's wanting to put you into child. Oh, that's a bit beyond your budget. But you know, if you think about it, maybe you might be able to afford it. Oh, you see? Well, if I'm going to stay in parallel, you know, the same, parent, child, I'll either come back with, yeah, oh, maybe you're right, but I might be able to just manage it. Adapted child, because I've got the feeling he wants me to buy it. That's why he's saying it. Rebellious child, oh, I'll take that. Oh, I'm fine. Yeah. Well, I could choose to cross it. I could say, an adult, you're quite right. I think I'll look at a different model. That's not good for me. Depends how you are when you're confronted with that, as you know, that salesperson talking to you. I'm thinking of myself. If somebody said that's way beyond your budget, well, I think as adapted child, I'd be scared. I'd say, oh, righto, and I'd leave. So he wouldn't get the sale. But with Pete, he'd say, oh, no, that's fine. I can do that. and he'd get the sale. But also, if you come back from adult and you're going to come back from a different ego state to what he wanted to push you into, or she wanted to push you into. If you're coming back from adult, no, you're thinking, no, I can manage that. That's in my budget. Or no, you're quite right. I think I'll give that a miss. I'll look at the next model down. In adult, we're thinking in the here and now, making decisions for ourselves. We're not coming back as an impulse reply. And that impulse reply would come from child. It could come from parent, couldn't it? Thinking about it. That's way beyond your budget. So I might come back from parent and say, don't start telling me what my budget is. Yeah, can you see? So we're going to open all this up and we're going to do a bit more as we go on. Next week, we're going to be talking about strokes. And then gradually, I'll still incorporate that, but we'll go on to talk about strokes and we're then going to get the bigger picture. But have a think about if you have a little jolt or where someone might say something to you and you come back in child. Of course, free child's great to come back into. So your boss might say to you, oh, I wanted you to photocopy that and get this report done. I sent you round a memo. Oh, I try and check all my memos, but I'm ever so sorry, I must have missed that one. Oh, well, never mind. Do better next time. If you can manage to check, see, we're parent-child. But you can choose to come back in adult or in free child. You could come back in free child. You could lie on the floor and say, lunch is ready. Lunch? Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah. Yeah, so you could come back and say, I'm rubbish at this job. When do you want to fire me? And make a joke of it. Come back in free child. Or you could come back in adult. Now, what would you like me to do? I'm obviously missing these memos, so how can we devise something better? Would you be able to give it to me personally? Or, yeah, see the tone of voice. We need the tone, what we're going to say. But what we're starting to do is open it up to see that we've got choices where we come back from.